There are two big forces at play right now affecting the gig economy. Inflation is going up, but consumers are also cutting back on their spending. This is potentially a recipe for disaster for gig workers. There are certainly some markets out there that are still really hot. People delivering with Doordash, Instacart, UberEats, driving for Uber are still earning well, but there are a lot of other markets out there where drivers are struggling. And a lot of what we've been hearing right now is that we're potentially heading into a recession. So if you're working in the gig economy, what are the ways that you can survive in this recession and even thrive in the recession? Let's go ahead and talk about that. As I mentioned, one of the big headlines is how high inflation is. So how do you protect your money against inflation? Well, inflation means that things are going to be more expensive tomorrow. And if you're earning less, how do you afford to pay for those things? The best thing that you can do right now is to put your money in tips. Those are Treasury inflation protected securities. You can put in a minimum of $100 and up to $10,000, earning an annual interest rate of 9.6% currently. These are designed to help keep up with inflation. So right now they're paying out 9.6% because inflation is so high. They've been steadily increasing the last few months to help consumers keep up with that inflation. If you're interested in these, check out the Treasury Direct website, where you can buy the tips directly from the government. Okay, but maybe you've been saving up and you have more than $10,000. What do you do with this? Well, the stock market is not looking that great right now. So one of the best ways to hedge against that inflation is just to keep your money in the bank. With the Fed raising interest rates, that means you get more interest for keeping your money there. One of my favorite savings accounts is Bread Savings. They're currently paying 1.65% on your money, and that's really however much you want to put in there. Now, this may not seem like a lot, but typical savings and checking accounts are still only paying like 0.05%. So if you go to somewhere like Bread, you're getting a much better return for keeping your money in that bank account. But what happens if you run out of money? Let's say you are budgeting to pay rent and you go out to deliver with Doordash, but you just don't make as much money this weekend as you thought you were going to. You get a flat tire, all of a sudden you have this expense, but you also aren't earning money and that rent check is due. Well, you need a way to get some sort of a loan, to get some money, to shore up those finances in the short term. Unfortunately, traditional banks don't do a good job of lending to gig economy workers. There's a problem because they use W-2s to estimate if you're going to be able to pay that loan back, but gig workers aren't on W-2s. That's why a product like Ivy really comes in handy. Ivy is able to make better estimates on these loans because they actually look at your gig earnings, which normal banks can't do. And because they're so good at this, they're able to give you those loans at really low rates. They also occasionally run promotions so that you can get cash advances or loans as a gig worker completely free, so make sure to check them out. The founder of Ivy is a child of an immigrant worker, so he understands the struggle that gig workers are coming through, and he really has a true purpose in establishing this business and treating gig workers fairly, giving them that access to credit and money when they need it at a really, really great cost. This is a fantastic service to check out. But what do you do when you're actually out there working, delivering or picking up rides with Uber, whatever it is? What is the best approach right now in a market like this? Well, it's best to fall back on the most core and important tactics that we've always talked about on this channel, and one of those is being picky with your orders. If you're delivering with Doordash or Uber Eats, those lowball offers you really have to avoid in a market like this. With gas being so expensive, you really have to take only the best orders if you can. Now, unfortunately, it's been getting harder and harder to do this. So at a bare minimum, at least make sure you're only working during the best times of day. And that kind of segues into my next suggestion. I always get a ton of pushback for this, but I'm going to continue to put it out there. I highly recommend looking into stable 9-to-5 jobs right now. The gig economy is great as extra money, and it's also really good as a full-time position when the economy is good. But it's highly likely that the economy won't be good for the foreseeable future, so those earnings are not going to be as reliable. And with a 9-to-5, you're still available to work 5 to 7, 5 to 8 p.m. after you get off of work, which is really the best time to be working in the gig economy anyways, at least if you are delivering food. If you're looking for a full-time job, I highly recommend that you avoid the retail industry because this sector actually does really poorly in recessions. So you could go ahead and end up getting laid off 3 weeks after you start that job. A better place to look would be in the healthcare industry. I'm not saying you need to become a doctor, but any sort of job in a hospital or in healthcare is going to be much more reliable when the economy faces a downturn. If you're spending a lot of time out on the road, whether you're delivering or driving, think about ways that you can easily, passively pad that income and make extra money. One of the best ways to do that is using Firefly. So what they do is they will install a tablet in your car, or they will wrap your car so that you can get paid advertising money every single month. It's an average of $300 a month, but some of their top drivers are making above thousands of dollars every month by catering to special events when they're working through Firefly. Once you have the wrap job on your car or the tablet installed, you just work as you normally would. So if you're an Uber driver, your passengers are seeing that tablet, you're making passive income off of it. Or if you're delivering food, that wrap job is a sponsorship that's paying you because you're driving around and your car is visible. People are going to want to buy those things. I've got a couple pictures of it. Honestly, these setups look really sweet. And this program is available cost-free to drivers and delivery drivers, assuming that you're working full-time. So that's 40 plus hours a week. You have to be an approved rideshare or delivery driver already. They will install the tablet or the wrap job on your car absolutely free, and there's no contract. So whether you're working for a couple months or a few years, you can decide to quit whenever you want and just take those extra padded earnings for that period of time. One of the biggest things that you should always be doing, whether you're working in the gig economy, whether you're working full-time, or whether you're completely unemployed, is budgeting. You should always know how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, and where exactly that money is allocated to. What are the most expensive parts of your budget? What are places where you could cut back so that you can take more of that money, put it in some of the savings methods that we talked about previously, and see that money multiply and become more money. Effective budgeting is a really important skill to have, whether you do that in Excel or you download a free budgeting app. There are just a ton of tools out there today, and they're going to be super helpful in helping you meet your financial goals and getting it through some of the tough times so that when things turn around, you can actually flourish when the next opportunities come your way. If you have any additional ideas for ways to earn extra money during these tough times out there, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.